Okay, Alyssa, we already talked about this. You're going to be very quiet. No crying, because Mommy's trying to do something. So today's video is going to be the controversial parenting tag. I've seen it going around a little bit here, so I just figured why not jump on the bandwagon and give my 2 cents. Now, before I get into this video, let me just say there is no 100% correct way to raise a child. There's 1,000 different ways to do it. Whatever works for your family, do it, and do not let anybody make you feel guilty for doing something that you fully believe in. I don't think I'm a very I think I'm pretty laid back when it, am I doing yoga? What is this? I'm not a very judgmental person. You know, I do have my opinions on things, but I'm not gonna knock you and hate you and judge you for, you know, maybe not agreeing with me. I'm always up for a good debate, a good discussion, and hey, if there's something that I can learn, something that I'm not knowing, something that I can do better, I am always willing to hear about it. So with that said, lint in the air. With that said, I'm gonna go ahead and get right into this. I am pro do whatever the hell you want to do. I think that it is wrong to try and tell somebody what they should and shouldn't be able to do. There are people that say, well, if you're going to have sex, you should be ready to deal with the consequences. If you're doing everything right, you know, if you are wrapping it up, if you are popping your pill, if you are sticking on that patch every single week, and you know, these things do happen. If somebody is, you know, really not ready to have a child, I don't think that you should be forced to have it. On the other hand, I do know some people who use abortion as a form of birth control. That is wrong. If you are not willing to wrap it up, then you should have to deal with the consequences. If you do not want to keep your baby, at least give it up for adoption. It's better than chopping up 6 babies and having them sucked out of you. Sorry to be so graphic. That's just how it is. Okay, so I had Joshua when I was 18 years old. I think at that time I thought it was kind of weird, and I never really did it with him, but I do have a sling for Alyssa, and oh Jesus, this is like the holy grail of all baby gadgets. I want to say, if there's one thing that you are going to invest in or put some money into, I would definitely say baby wearing. Buy a sling, buy a harness, buy a leash, buy something, and wrap your baby up around you and carry them. Putting your baby in a sling is so much easier than carrying like a big bulky, what's it called, car seat carrier thingy around. It's so much easier than that. It's kind of like a bonding process. You know, your baby's right there. They feel the warmth of your body. They feel your heartbeat. They can hear your heartbeat beating right next to you. It's kind of convenient. I personally like it. Yeah, that's what I got to say about that. I'm kind of neutral on it. I'm not calling myself a slut or anything, but I have seen both in my lifetime. I do not mind a flesh-colored turtleneck. It's not really that big of a deal to me. If you want to do it for, you know, religious or even just cleanliness, even though I don't really think it's that big of a deal to pull it back and wash it, by all means do it. I'm not for it. I'm not against it. You know, it's your wang. As long as I don't have to look at it, I don't give a crap. Definitely knowing some people in my lifetime that, you know, can't have babies but really have always wanted to be parents. Adoption definitely is a great place to go for that. If I were ever asked to be a surrogate, I've said this before, by a gay couple, by a friend of mine, I would totally do it, just because I think that it is something, it's a great gift to give somebody. And you know, if you are not mentally, physically, financially prepared for a child, but you don't have the heart to maybe get an abortion, adoption is definitely 100% a-okay. I'm assuming that this means like in their ears, not their eyebrows or their nose. I'm definitely not going to be putting any holes there. I think it's funny that this is in here because I just talked about this in my last video. I will link that down below. But Alyssa's 3 years old. 3 years old. Oh. Alyssa is 3 months old now, so I can technically take her to like a Claire's or take her to somewhere to get her ears pierced, which I am going to do once, you know, me and my husband get around to it. Like I said in my last video, it's kind of a tradition in my family. Once you have a baby girl, you get her ears pierced, and her first earrings are the birthstone. So that is what I'm going to continue to do with Alyssa, and hopefully one day if she has a daughter, or Joshua the same, that will be kind of carried on throughout the rest of my family. Reading online, some people are like, well, you know, I wouldn't take that choice away from my child. What if they don't want a hole in their ear? If my daughter does not want to have her ears pierced at some point in her life, that's fine. You can go ahead and take them out, baby girl. Whatever the hell you want to do. But for now, I'm going to go along with the tradition in my family. Pierce her ears. She doesn't want them. She can take them out later. If you guys can see, I do have my boppy pillow back here. This is one that I made, so obviously I am breastfeeding. I think that if you cannot breastfeed for whatever reason, then it's a great thing that formula is there. I've been fortunate enough to have an excess of milk for both of my children. I've got enough milk for the needy. And when you put it this way, how much does a can of formula like this big cost, and how much is it gonna last? I personally would never pay for something that I can get for free. That's just me. Sometimes I think that women give up too easily. They're just not determined enough to do it. Granted, yes, it does hurt the first few days. Yeah, there is such a thing as, you know, a nipple being cracked or something like that, but at the same time, that is not necessarily because, you know, you cannot breastfeed. It's because you're doing something wrong and need to fix it. Definitely, if you have the capacity to do it and you are producing, I would definitely recommend doing it. I am all for it. Spanking. Ooh. I think that a lot of people confuse spanking with beating. Spanking your child because you've had a bad day and you need to take your frustration out. There's a difference between that and going, stealing some clothes, stealing some shoes, stealing something from a store, coming home, and, you know, me finding out about it. Yeah, you deserve to get into trouble. Not only am I going to spank you, but I'm going to take you to the store, make you return it, and embarrass you there. That's, you know, that's just how I was brought up. I do not prefer to spank Joshua, and if there's any way that I can, if I've done everything else to prevent it, then, you know, sometimes it needs to happen. I do not judge people who are like, oh, well, I don't believe in spanking. I do obviously don't judge people who, you know, spank their kids. I do think that there is such a thing as overdoing it, though. Definitely, you know, I've been spanked in my life. I was never beaten, but I have been hit in the face with a belt before, not by my mom, not by my biological father, but by somebody that my mom was married to, and it was just not, it happened twice, and I would never, ever do that to a child. So that's what I mean when I say there's a difference between getting spanked and being beaten. There is a difference, and people need to realize that. Spanking is not for everybody, but, you know, I personally don't have a problem with it. I am all for co-sleeping. I co-slept with Joshua until I weaned him. The day that I decided to wean Joshua is the day that he got his toddler bed and started sleeping on his own. I weaned him cold turkey. I find that because I'm breastfeeding, it was always much easier to just, you know, have him in bed with me. With Alyssa now, she does have a swing. I do not have a crib for her at all. I had a crib for Joshua. He never slept in it, maybe once, and hated it. So she does have a swing. I'll put her to sleep in her swing, and then when she wakes up in the middle of the night, about 4 in the morning, I will, you know, put her in bed with me, feed her, and fall back asleep until 6 when I wake up. I don't have a problem with it. I love it. I think it's a great bonding experience, and, you know, why not? I went to public school growing up, and but because I was raised in a very religious upbringing, my whole life was church, and school was something that I did outside of church. So, you know how some people are like, oh, well, I go to school, this is my family, and then we go to church on Sundays. It was the complete opposite for me. And so when I hit high school, I was exposed to this whole new world of things. My freshman year was literally just like, oh my goodness, you open up a box of chocolates and you don't know what the hell you're gonna get, but you have to try it all. I went a little nuts when I first entered high school just because I had never been really severely exposed to something like that. Even though I was in public school, I was very sheltered as a child growing up. So I didn't meet my first gay person until my freshman year. I never saw two boys kissing until my freshman year. I had never been to a dance. I had never like been to the movies out by myself with friends until I hit high school. So I think that definitely public school can be a great thing. Some people say, oh, well, you know, there's a lot of craziness that goes on in public school. Yeah, there is, but at the same time, whether it is public school, your child is going out with their friends, or they're just, you know, hanging out doing whatever, you cannot be physically with your child every single second of every single day. They're going to be exposed to these things at any, you know, they're going to be exposed to these things anyways, and so it's better to let them develop as a person, learn how to manage these social situations. That way, when the time comes and they are, you know, out of school, on their own, off to college, whatever the situation may be, they will be mentally capable to deal with it. See, I'm not really, that's not like a big deal to me. I think that, you know, people kind of overdo it sometimes when they're like, oh, well, you know, this is linked to this, and this is linked to that, and this is linked to that. Okay, there are people that would argue, oh, well, natural selection, if the person wasn't meant to get sick, they wouldn't have. it can go either way. I'm not for it. I'm not against it. I don't really care. I think that, you know, Joshua doesn't necessarily need a flu shot. I've never had a flu shot ever in my life, and I've never gotten the flu. So it's not really that big of a deal to me. Now, I'm assuming that they mean like ADD, birth control, stuff like that. I think a lot of times people can be taken advantage of just for money's sake from the doctor, and that is not okay. Doctors want to get paid. Let's just put it that way. Doctors, pediatricians, whoever you are going to, they're in this business to get paid. They make big money. They have Jaguars for a reason, and it's because they are giving you a different pill for everything. You have a footache. Let me give you a prescription for that. You have a toothache. Here is a pill for this. You thought you were feeling cross-eyed yesterday? Okay, let me give you a patch for that. I think that it's okay when it's necessary. Do I think that it's okay to give your child an Ambien? Hell no. Do I think it's okay to give your daughter Benadryl because you want to go to sleep? No. Do I think that it is okay to give your child some Theraflu or something, you know, when they are sick, when they have a fever? You know, definitely. Many people would argue that cloth diapers are better for the environment, and I think that in a lot of ways it can be. It's kind of a give and take. Yes, you are keeping diapers out of landfills, but at the same time, you are using excessive amounts of water to clean these diapers over and over and over and over. Personally, I use disposable diapers if for some reason they are out with, you know, a babysitter, they are out with grandma, they are out with grandpa. You know, I don't expect my dad to sit there and wipe shit off of a diaper just because I want him to. If you are wanting to cloth diaper, by all means do it. That's a great thing. You know, if that's what works for your family, go ahead and do it. I personally use disposable diapers just because I don't like poop. Let's just put it that way. I don't like poop. So Joshua has a schedule, so I've never really had to let him cry it out. I don't think that it is okay to, you know, let your child sit and scream and yell and, you know, basically wear themselves out to the point where they are, you know, just fall asleep. That is not the cry it out method. The cry it out method is something completely different than what a lot of people truly think that it is. I think that it's definitely a great thing to let your child learn how to self-soothe. There is such a thing as overstimulating your baby. Joshua is not even 3 years old, and he's been putting himself to sleep since he was 1.5. So I think that cry it out method, if it works for your family, go ahead and do it. Personally, I have never had to really deal with that because I've, you know, done other ways of, I've just dealt with my family in different ways. The schedule thing, I've said it before, if you can get your family on a schedule, that definitely helps to prevent things like that happening. I think that that is everything. Those were all of the questions. I tag anybody and everybody who wants to do this. If you guys have anything to say about this, go ahead and leave it down below. If you want to do a video response or just, you know, leave a comment, feel free to do that. I'm not saying that I am right. I'm not saying that my way is wrong. I'm just saying that this is what I do. This is the tag. These are the questions, and this is how I go about doing things with my family. Again, this is what works for me. Whatever works for you guys, by all means, do it. If you guys have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them down below, or you can message me personally here on YouTube. I love interacting with everybody. You can subscribe to my channel. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, everything, all links and information will be down below as always. Yeah, this has been the controversial parenting tag. Nobody hate me now. So yeah, I think that's it, guys. I will see you in the next video. Bye.